Alright, hello everybody, it is I, Granorite, and here we are back with another episode of Let's Play Pokemon Emerald with our Gen 3 type challenge of Water type. We have 6 water playthroughs in a row. We're just going to start to blast through them. This is water playthrough number 4 out of 9. Team is going to be Gyarados, Amistar, Quagsire, Poliwrath, and Castform in its water form. And as we do here, we're going to read about our Pokemon. I don't know why the tracker shows Castform in its ice form. Hopefully we'll change that later when we are able to change its form. But anyways, let's read about some Pokemon, see what they're doing here at level 5, and get them up to level 7. Magikarp here has Swift Swim. Oh, we know Splash right now. Magikarp is a slow leveling rate Pokemon. Magikarp is a piscine Pokemon with large, heavy reddish-orange scales. It has large vacant eyes and pink lips. Its pectoral and tail fins are white. On its back is a stiff, 3-peaked yellow fin resembling a crown. There is an identical fin on its underside. It also has long barbels. The barbels are white on a female and pale yellow on a male. A long-lived Magikarp is able to utilize its immense splashing power to leap high enough to scale mountains. It also has strong enough immune system to survive in the most polluted of waters. However, it is usually overlooked by trainers because of its perceived weakness. Even in the heat of battle, it will do nothing but flop around. It is believed that the ancestors of Magikarp were actually much stronger than modern Magikarp, and this led scientists to research this species. Magikarp is found in many bodies of water, such as lakes, rivers, and ponds. However, due to its weak swimming ability, it usually lives downstream of the water's flow. In Generation 1, Splash was its signature move. It is often seen using Splash to leap out of the water, which makes it an easy target for predators such as Pidgeotto and Pidgeot. Frillish are also known to prey on Magikarp. In Hoppy Town, there are at least 31 unique varieties of Magikarp, with their scales coming in colors such as gray, black, white, pink, purple, violet, apricot, and brown. These patterns can be classified by groups depending on how the Magikarp looks while it is still small. A specific pattern arises when it becomes bigger. Which pattern can be caught depends on the type of old rod. The better the rod, the more groups of patterns can be fished. The people in Hoppy Town train their Magikarp to jump the highest in order to compete in a series of leagues to win prizes. And our Gen 3 Pokedex information for Magikarp. Ruby says Magikarp is a pathetic excuse for a Pokemon that is only capable of flopping and splashing. This behavior prompted scientists to undertake research into it. Sapphire says Magikarp is virtually useless in battle as it can only splash around. As a result, it is considered to be weak. However, it is actually a very hardy Pokemon that can survive in any body of water no matter how polluted it is. Emerald says its swimming muscles are weak, so it is easily washed away by currents. And in places where water pools, you can see Magikarp deposited there by the flow. Fire Red says that it is virtually worthless in terms of both power and speed. It is the most weak and pathetic Pokemon in the world. In the distant past, it was somewhat stronger than the horribly weak descendants that exist today. And that is our information on Magikarp. Next we have Omanyte. Also has Swift Swim. Good defense and special attack. Currently knows Constrict and Withdraw. What do we know about Omanyte? It is a medium-fast leveling rate Pokemon. Omanyte is a small extinct cephalopod mollusk Pokemon similar to an Omanyte or a Nautilus. It has a sky blue body with 10 tentacles and a pale yellow helix spiral shell on its back. The shell's rim has 2 circular indents where Omanyte's large saucer-like eyes protrude. If attacked or threatened, it quickly withdraws to its hard shell. Omanyte is considered extinct, although it can be revived from fossils. Its fossils have been excavated in areas that were once oceans long ago. Omanyte regulated its buoyancy by storing and releasing air within its shell, and controlled direction by twisting its tentacles. While Omanyte fed on plankton, it was preyed on by Archaeops and Caracosta. Omanyte can now be found in the wild due to being released by people or escaping after being restored to life, causing the species to become a problem. And our Gen 3 Pokedex information for Omanyte. Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald all say Omanyte is one of the ancient and long extinct Pokemon that have been regenerated from fossils by people. If attacked by an enemy, it withdraws itself inside its hard shell. Fire Red says a prehistoric Pokemon that lived in primordial sea. It swims by twisting its 10 tentacles about. And Leaf Green says, although long extinct, in rare cases have been genetically regenerated from fossils. Next we have Wooper, who has Water Gun and Tail Whip. Good attack and defense, has Water Absorb for its ability, so it can't be damaged by water attacks or electric attacks, which is pretty nice. A medium fast leveling rate Pokemon. Wooper is a mostly blue amphibious Pokemon that resembles an upright, armless axolotl. Wooper's head is large compared to its body, and it has small, round, black eyes. It has purple branching gills on either side of its head. The males have more branches in its gills than the females. Wooper stands on 2 small, round feet, and it has a large, thick tail. On its belly are curved blue markings. It is implied in the Pokemon Journeys, the series episode Sinnoh Iceberg Race, that Wooper is a dull-witted Pokemon oblivious to its surroundings. Wooper lives in cold water most of the time. When sleeping, it partially buries itself in the mud at the bottom. It will occasionally leave the water when the air cools in the evening to search for food along the shore. While walking on land, it coats its body in a slimy, toxic film that keeps its skin from dehydrating and insulates it against the cold. The film causes a shooting pain if touched barehanded. It is a timid Pokemon that tends to stay close to Quagsire. Arbok is a natural predator of Wooper. As shown in Pokemon Sleep, Wooper tends to bury half its body in the mud at the bottom of the water to sleep, and Wooper also does this while sleeping on land. By sleeping in the mud on land, Wooper can keep its skin wet and prevent dehydration. And our Gen 3 Pokedex information for Wooper, Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald all say Wooper usually lives in water. However, it occasionally comes out onto land to search for food. On land, it coats its body with a gooey toxic film. Fire Red says when it walks around on the ground, it coats its body with a slimy poisonous film. And Leaf Green says this Pokemon lives in cold water. It will leave the water to search for food when it gets cold outside. And next we have Poliwag, who also has Water Absorb. Good stats kind of all around, just knows a bubble right now. A medium slow leveling rate Pokemon. Poliwag is an amphibian Pokemon resembling a blue spherical tadpole. It has large eyes and pink lips that can also act as suction cups for rocks. Its skin is very thin but flexible and difficult to puncture. There is a black and white swirl on its abdomen, which is actually its internal organs showing through its semi-transparent skin. The swirl is clearer following a meal and will have a white tinge if the Pokemon is affected by disease. The direction of the spiral differs by area, and the equator is thought to have an effect on it. Poliwag has newly developed legs that are poor for walking and no arms. It has a long, thin tail surrounded by a light blue semi-transparent fin. Its tail makes it a powerful swimmer. It loves to waddle on land despite the dangers. However, it will quickly return to the water should it see danger. It cannot walk on land well unless trained every day. Because of its ineptitude on land, Poliwag is more likely to be found swimming in small freshwater ponds and lakes. In the Pokemon the Series episode The Sunspore Detour, Poliwag is shown feeding on Salveo weed, which can only be found on clear lake bottoms. And our Gen 3 Pokedex information for Poliwag, Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald all say Poliwag has very thin skin. It is possible to see the Pokemon spiral innards right through the skin. Despite its thinness, however, the skin is also very flexible. Even sharp fangs bounce right off of it. Fire Red says its slick black skin is thin and damp. A part of its internal organs can be seen through the skin as a spiral pattern. And Leaf Green says its newly grown legs prevent it from walking well. It appears to prefer swimming over walking. And last but not least, we have Castform, who just knows Tackle. Even stats around. Has Forecast, of course, for its ability, so it'll change form with the weather. A medium fast leveling rate Pokemon. Castform is an artificial Pokemon that changes appearance and attitude based on the weather. Its body is made of cells exactly like those of water molecules, causing its cellular structure to be chemically altered by temperature and humidity. Though not of its own free will, Castform uses this ability to protect its tiny body. In its normal form, it resembles a plain gray cloud with a single wisp extending from the top of its head. Regardless of the form it takes, it will always have a large spherical head and a lighter colored mask-like marking over its eyes. Various experiments were conducted to change its form in artificial conditions. They all have failed. In Generation 3, Weather Ball was its signature move. Despite its man-made origins, it can be found in grassland areas. Castform is the only known Pokemon having the Castform ability. So we'll be seeing the Rainy form here. So when soaked in rain, it takes on its rainy form. It has a dark gray lower half resembling a storm cloud, and the head turns blue, resembles a raindrop. Its body is soft and slippery, and seeps with water when compressed. And our Gen 3 Pokedex information for Castform. Ruby says Castform's appearance changes with the weather. This Pokemon gained the ability to use the vast power of nature protect its tiny body. Sapphire says Castform borrows the power of nature to transform itself into guises of sun, rain clouds, and snow clouds. This Pokemon's feelings change with the weather. Emerald says it alters its form depending on the weather. Changes in the climate, such as temperature and humidity, appear to affect its cellular structure. And Fire Red and Leaf Green says it has the ability to change its form into sun, rain, and snow cloud depending on the weather. And we are ready to go start to get this team up to level 7. So, of course, we have to swap in and out Magikarp, so that's what we're going to be doing. We want Magikarp to get attack and speed. Let's do Wooper here. So we'll be seeing a lot of Magikarp swapping in and out, of course, until it gets to level 15, which is when it learns Tackle. I probably should go heal, because Poliwag was getting a little low. Good job, Poliwag. Oopa, oopa, oopa. Let's send out Castform here. Send out Poliwag. Ah, get out of here. Ah. Well, I meant to switch to Poliwag and let it get it, but whatever. We'll just go heal. Wooper was just a little low for that fight. It's just faster than us. Once we get Magikarp up to level 7, then we can focus on everybody else. Ah, no. Why didn't it? click on the Pokemon button. Well, darn it. I think that would have got Magikarp up to level 7, too. Alright. Hypnosis is pretty good. Oh, and that just level 7 for you, isn't it? Sorts of messed up. They refresh it by chance? There we go. I'm looking for HP and special attack on Castform. There we go. We're also going to let Omanyte get in on this special attack, because that's something that it wants. And we don't run into a lot of Ralts early game. So we're going to spread it around as much as we can. Just trying to speed past this grass training. We got 2 of them done, almost a third. Wooper won't take too long. Omanyte might take a little bit. In fact, let's go ahead and swap to Omanyte here. We're looking for special attack and defense here, but we don't run into both of those, so we'll also take a little special defense on Omanyte. But if we want to run into any more Ralts, we want to be able to spread that around to Castform as well. I think I remember from the last time we used Omanyte that the big move that it learns early on is Bite. We don't get a water attack for a little bit. Everybody's going to know Water Gun at some point. Come on, another Ralts? Nope, where's more Loteds? Which isn't horrible. Just not ideal. I need to go heal. Good deal. Alright, and Wooper, what's attack and defense? So really we're just looking for Poochyienas. And it'll eventually get a physical attack. It learns a ground attack pretty early. So our first evolutions on this team will happen at level 20, and that will be Wooper into Quagsire and Magikarp into Gyarados. So that's exciting. Well, let me go. Oh, there's a Ralts to taunt us, and it's not even letting us escape. Poochyenas. Oh my gosh, Zigzagoon. Gonna destroy my Wooper. And then, of course, after we get Quagsire and Gyarados, we'll get Poliwag and the Poliwhirl at level 25. And then we'll get Omanyte into Amistar at level 40. And finally, Poliwhirl into Poliwrath once we get a Water Stone. Very nice. Alright, now we can head onwards. And we need to swap, well, we don't need to. We want to swap in and out Magikarp. Oopa. Nice. Alright, let's swap Castform up. Very nice. Keep it going. Castform learns a bunch of attacks at level 10, 20, the final attack at level 30. Oh. Not Magikarp. Poliwag here. Oh, we could Hypnosis it. We could try. And be successful. Very nice. Very nice. Doesn't affect our bubbles at all, so we can go ahead and growl as much as it like. Alright, we'll get some more experience on Magikarp. And then we're going to go to Castform here. Good damage. Okay. We're just healing before we go into this last fight here. Maybe I shouldn't have used Castform against the Zigzagoon if we gotta use it here against the Shroom. Well, we don't have to use it against the Shroomish. We want to use it against the Shroomish. Come on, big tackle. Very nice. Alright, let's let Wally catch his Pokemon. Now, who are we getting? We're getting defense on Wooper and Omanyte. I think who I'm gonna use this double battle coming up, and I think the answer is Poliwag and Omanyte. So if I can get some defense on Poliwag here. Right, he's using Bide, so we'll withdraw. Growth is fine. Bide is the problem. We have to keep in mind that Omanyte does not have a lot of health, so we can't be just taking those bides all the time. Magikarp v Magikarp, and nothing's going to happen. Let's go to Castform. I'm going to give an Oran Berry to Poliwag. Swap to Poliwag and start bubbling. Do we get a Hypnosis? No. How about now? No. How about now? No. How about now? And she heals it with a full restore. We do not put it back to sleep for 3 turns. And it just wakes right back up anyway. Wow, that was a bunch of damage. Alright, let's go heal. swap Castform up. Tackle away. Nothing too exciting in this first episode. I have to do grass trading after this, prep for tomorrow. And of course Magikarp's going to be a pain in the butt to grass trade. How did Magikarp get HP? What did I send Magikarp in against? Did I send it in against that Shroomish accidentally? Well, let's just get it in here and get its HP up to a multiple of 4. Swap Magikarp up to start the Poochyena fight. We'll go to Wooper here. Well, if he really powers up a bunch, it's going to be bad news for us. At least Poliwag's fast. Alright. We're gonna go heal Wooper so we can do the next fight. Poor Wooper got knocked out by that Poochyena. Wooper's been knocked out by a few Poochyenas at this point. He's having a little bit of trouble. What do we got here? Two Ninkadas. Hey, we wow, critical hit. Swap up Magikarp. Let's go to Poliwag. Put it to sleep after the full restore happens. Wow, it's really tired. This one's really sleeping. It'll wake up now. But it won't do anything, which is good for us. Alright. A couple more fights left. Castform takes on the Shroomish. Alright, double battle next. like to take down the Lotad. Excellent. Oh, that's not who I wanted to hit with that. Man, we cannot hit a Hypnosis. Thank you. We got it, though. We got it! Alright, get it back up that King of Carps. And this is just a gimme fight. Just gonna get us some more speed EVs. And a little bit of experience. Grab a Chesto Berry, Lepa Berries, Cherry Berries. Grab the X Defend for us to sell. Pretty sure nobody on this team can learn Bullet Seed. Yeah. Yeah, unless there was some weird, like, lore reason. Alright, well, we're going to end this episode here. We'll get the team up to level 15 off screen, and then we'll be ready tomorrow for another episode. We hope you all enjoyed. We'll see y'all next time.